bit about Accusoft and how it's kind of comprised and how that basically changed the way that I work in Accusoft as opposed to how most other employees at Accusoft work. My personal learning objectives, it was kind of interesting because when I arrived at Accusoft, one of the first things I did was I met with my manager, and he handed me a sheet of paper and said that we actually had learning goals for you ourselves. So my learning goals actually lined up almost exactly with Accusoft's goals. My original goals were that over the summer I wanted to learn more about the technology industry, and I wanted to learn more about working on large-scale projects. I had already worked on some projects here at school, and one thing that I had realized that was a massive weakness for me was working with other students on projects. I had took Dr. Bushy's autonomous vehicles class over last semester, and something we had some problem was our collaboration through Git and our inability to work with others' codes very well. So I knew that was something I was going to need to work on, and I wanted to learn, like I said, better coding collaboration practices. Accusoft, they wanted me to essentially be able to work my way into being ready to be what they consider the entry-level position, which is Software Engineer 1. They normally call that a SE1, so I'll probably call that a SE1 if I reference it anymore. So they wanted me to gain an understanding and the breadth of their products in general, because most of their products end up working with each other or interacting with each other in some way or another. They wanted me to learn their processes and apply their knowledge to the assigned projects that I was working on. My project specifically worked with almost all of the projects that they have there at Accusoft, so I covered this one very well. And then they wanted me to contribute to the product development with the existing and new products. Okay, so just a general overview of Accusoft itself. It was founded by Jack Berlin, who is still currently the CEO, in 1991 as Pegasus Imaging. Back then they made image compression software, and mostly the story that I was told was that Google originally used them for part of their compression algorithm for being able to send images to their storage site when you uploaded things on the internet. They wanted to rebrand in 2012 to Accusoft. They actually acquired Accusoft, and what they wanted to do was expand from being just an imaging company to doing significantly more just in general software products. They wanted to be a technology industry leader. So it's comprised mostly of 4 teams. They have SDK, which does most of their SDK is probably one of the largest products that product groups that they have in the company, just because they have almost as many departments as the entire rest of the company does as a whole. Prison Doc support, and then what I worked for was SAS, and we're attached to IS, which is internal support. Yeah, so document and imaging tools built for developers was kind of like one of their project phrases. So one of my learning objectives was to learn a little bit more about the tech industry, and that included learning a little bit more about their lingo. So 2 things that they spoke to me about when I got there almost immediately that I had never heard before were SAS and Scrum. And originally I was like, wow, those sound like some really made up words to me. That's exactly what they are, made up words. So SAS, which is the department that I work for, is software as a service, and explained, I thought Microsoft explained it the best, which is SAS allows users to connect to and use cloud-based apps over the internet. At Accusoft, most of what that is our barcode and imaging recognition SDKs, conversion compression, viewer, and annotation platforms. And so mostly what that means is that Accusoft doesn't really sell something that you would ever go online and go to Accusoft.com and we're going to use Accusoft software. What happens is that a software developer might develop an app and they need a barcode scanner. So they'll pay Accusoft for their barcode scanning SDK. And then that's how Accusoft sells most of their products, are back-end SDKs or a conversion or compression algorithms that these companies will use on their website to upload or store or compress or download the information that their clients use. The next word that I ran into was Scrum, which is how it's a framework for solving complex problems. And so at Accusoft, we do have managers and we do have product owners, but the interaction with them is almost as if you would interact with another employee at work. So for Scrum, the general breakdown is that the team's given a problem. The problem is assessed and organized into sprint backlogs, which is basically just here's the tasks that we would like to get done during our sprint time in Accusoft, that's 2 weeks. And then the team members take the tasks from the backlogs during the sprint in a circular pattern until the tasks are done, or the sprint's finished. And hopefully what will happen, we actually have what we call sprint burn down logs, where we watch as we finish our sprint, and it's supposed to burn down. Sometimes you end up with more problems and it burns up instead of burning down. But hopefully what happens is that every time you take a task, you work on it, you complete it, and then you put it in the done. And hopefully what will happen is you grab another log, another backlog object, and then you'll complete that one and continue that until the 2 weeks is over, which is our sprint burn down time. And then every single morning we do what we call a stand-up, which is exactly what it sounds like. You stand in a big circle in the conference room and you talk about the current tasks you're working on, what you've completed, what you plan on working on, and if you need any help from anybody else in the department, that's a good time to collaborate on that in the morning, and then we go sprint for the rest of the day. So I work specifically on a product called eDocker, and I worked for Jack. So if you remember earlier, I said that Jack Berlin was the CEO of our company, and I worked directly for him at Accusoft. And an interesting thing about Jack is that you don't know Jack at Accusoft until you've met him. And so Jack is our product owner of eDocker, and he acquired eDocker as a business document sharing site in 2015. And so what Jack wanted to do was originally, like I said, Accusoft sold SDKs and backend stuff, and it was kind of an abstract concept. And it was kind of hard for customers to kind of get behind buying just an SDK or buying just a software compression software or something of the sort. And so what Jack thought eDocker was a great idea for was showcasing our products. So Jack acquired eDocker, and that is currently what I work on with another intern from here, Jesse Ballara. And then just a little bit about eDocker. It's a free digital publishing platform. And so some of our highlights here, we have document uploads. You can upload any document or even links to documents. And we'll upload them and put them in our viewer, which is this right here you can see. We have content sharing with social media links. So we have, you can't really see them, but there's a share button here, and everything from Facebook to LinkedIn, you can share it on there with our embedded viewer. You can actually sell documents on eDocker. They have complete showcasing for being able to, I guess what they would call a store. And then they have more Accusoft features coming soon, which is something we'll get to in a little bit. And so my work on eDocker, personally, eDocker is written in Node.js. It's powered by Prism.Posted, which is another one of our products. Like I said, eDocker is specifically for showcasing our products. And it uses a SQL database on the back end. When I first got there, my internship, the first thing I had to do was optimize our searching algorithm. Our searching algorithm was incredibly slow and really just about unusable when I first got there. And so I spent the first almost half of my internship working exclusively with SQL and what we call a plugin called Sphinx, which does an index for a SQL database, which essentially clears out all of the non-necessary searchable features, and it only puts in things like document names, who uploaded, and all that kind of stuff, so that when you search, you only search for relevant information. The next thing I did was I created an RSS generator, which is kind of an outdated technology, but a user asked for it, and something about Jack is that he is possibly one of the most passionate, not just management, but also CEOs I've ever met in my life. And so a user emailed him and asked him for RSS feeds on our documents. And so Jack walked over to our building and walked up to me and said, hey, I would like an RSS generator for our documents because the user asked me for it. Can you do that? And I said yes. And so it was done in 2 weeks. And so, kind of a strange request, but someone asked him for it and he said, let's do it. And we did it. And so at that point, I thought, okay, I'm the best JavaScript coder that ever existed. And my next task was to make an endpoint for Embedly, which is if you've ever been to the New York Times or Reddit or The Guardian, they use an API called, an embedder called Embedly. And a user asked us if we could make an Embedly plugin so that we could have our documents on those websites. And so Jack asked me to take care of that, and I realized that I knew nothing about Node.js. So I had to relearn how to make endpoints for an API call, which is quite interesting in Node.js because it's an asynchronous language, so you have to tell everything to be synchronous in order for it to run properly. We're also using an old version of Node on this, so it doesn't have all the cool features that the new Node.js has. And then I also I created an endpoint for our one of our other products called OnTask. And so OnTask is a product that allows users to create a workflow. And the best way to explain, the easiest showcase for it is if you wanted someone to sign a document for you. The old way, of course, would be you'd have to print the document out, hand it to them, they'd have to sign it and get it back to you. With OnTask, what you can do is you can actually upload it digitally and have it sent to them via email, and they can open up the link, which will take them to an OnTask website. They can sign it online and send it right back to you, and you can do all of that digitally, so you don't have to print anything out, you don't have to go anywhere. And so eDocker will actually have, there's going to be a sign and e-fill button here, which will be take them to the OnTask page, and our old fax button is going to go away, which will be the embed button now. And then me as an intern, I actually got that part completed before the OnTask group got their part completed, so it's not there right now, unfortunately. And then we were using Google Ads and Jack because this is a showcasing for our Accusoft products. He asked me to put Accusoft ads into eDocker, so that was the last thing that I did. And so overall, I thought my internship was quite a success. Both my personal goals and Accusoft's goals were completed while I was there, which was prepping me to be an SE1. I wanted to learn more about the technology industry and some of the working on a bigger project, collaborating with another team of engineers, which was something that I did the entire time I was there. I worked with 3 other employees on eDocker, as well as I had 2 managers and Jack, my product owner. And then I also created some industry ties. I have some more meetings that I have to do with Jack later that he wants me to meet up with him about getting more Polytechnic students internships there and internships in Tampa in general. He has a lunch that I'm supposed to go with him later about meeting up with some tech companies in Tampa. And then I guess my work completed was a success for Accusoft as well, because they decided to keep me on as a co-op student. So I'll be working there. I'm still working there now, and I will be working there throughout next semester. And they're really hoping that I will stay as an SE1 when I'm finished with my college degree. And one thing that I don't know if you guys noticed, but the entire time I've been on this weird viewer here that you guys have probably never seen in your life. And the reason for that is because this has been on eDocker itself. So just kind of showcasing one of the things that I've done is that this is eDocker, and I have my presentation on eDocker. And you can see here, like I was talking about, where you can sell documents. And this is entirely run by 2 Florida Polytechnic interns. So that's my cool website that I run, I guess. Thank you. Any questions?